Welcome back to Friday Night Arcade. This week is WrestleMania. And in honor of WWE's biggest event, let's take a quick look back at this little oddball nugget that I never even knew existed until recently. Title Match Pro Wrestling for the Atari 2600. That's right, there was a pro wrestling game on Atari 2600. This was released in 1987 by the good people at Activision. Although this isn't the earliest pro wrestling game out there, Pro Wrestling came out in 1986 on the NES, this is the most primitive console version of a wrestling game that I could dig up, unless I missed something. There was also a little bit prettier version of Title Match for the Atari 7800, but I'm more interested in the version on 2600. Wrestling games in general require some fairly complex gameplay mechanics, so it intrigued me to see just what exactly they came up with, and I was not disappointed. While the game certainly isn't spectacular or anything, I'm always fascinated by how developers find little ways to push the hardware to its limits. Activision figured out a creative way to utilize the console's select switch here. You can toggle between 4 different game modes: 2-player one-on-one, 2-player tag team, 1-player versus the computer, or a tag team versus the computer's tag team. And there's also 4 different wrestlers to choose from. Hey, that's actually kind of impressive. Let's check out the manual and see what these guys are all about. Mad Dog. This husky redneck vows to chew up and spit out anyone who tries to tangle with him. And Skinhead. That sounds kind of bad. Mr. Mean and Big Chief. Big Chief Powwow doesn't miss a trick. Yeah, that's not at all offensive to anybody. Once you get started, it's pro wrestling on the Atari 2600. There's not a whole lot to say about it. The gameplay mechanics aren't half bad though. You can pick guys up or bounce them off the ropes. It's possible to do a dive off the ropes too. Both wrestlers have an energy meter too, and that's fairly complex for the console. Considering all they had to work with was a joystick and a button, there's actually a lot of mechanics to do here. I'm not sure that it all works the way it was intended, but by gosh, they tried. You can even toggle something called Muscle Mode. If you're down or in a bear hug, the manual says to jiggle the joystick left and right very fast to increase your chances of escaping. The manual also encourages you to try to use less taxing moves, such as punches or kicks, to try to conserve energy if you're running low, since bigger moves take more energy. Again, that's a fairly complex energy management system, even if it's clunky as all get out. Also, check out the sounds here. Specifically, check out the crowd noise. It sounds kind of cool, but it also sounds kind of familiar. If you listen closely, it sounds like the spaceship engine from another Activision title, Star Master. It wasn't uncommon for Atari 2600 developers to reuse sound effects across their game library, but it seems like a little bit of an odd choice. When you're slamming your opponent, it sounds like your plane just blew up in River Raid. So is this game worth playing today? Well, obviously, you could do a whole lot better on just about any generation beyond the Atari 2600, but if you're interested at all in the history of it, or just want to see how wrestling games have evolved, give this one a look. It's not much fun beyond the first few minutes or so, especially against the nearly impossible to beat computer, but it could be kind of fun if you had some friends to go up against. Either way, let me know what you think. Did you play this when it came out? And what's your all-time favorite wrestling game, past or present? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Friday Night Arcade.